What's up, guys? Neil here. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been watching for a little while, you probably remember at the beginning of 2025, I made a prediction that by the end of 2025, we will see AI start to eat all of software engineering, and coding will effectively be a solved problem by the end of 2025. I said this about 12 months ago, and a lot of people laughed. Now we have Adam Wolf here. He is a researcher at Anthropic. He works on Claude Code, and he says he believes that this new model, 4.5 Opus in Claude Code, is a glimpse into the future that we are hurtling towards. Maybe as soon as the first half of 2026, software engineering is effectively solved. Soon we won't bother to check generated code for the same reason we don't check the output of a compiler. Arguably, we're already pretty much there, depending on the types of projects you're working on. If you're working on something that's not like super duper complex, we're arguably already there. But for something that's a little bit more complex, like if you're pushing the frontier, we're probably not quite there yet. But like Adam said, by the beginning of next year, we'll probably be there. So it seems to be that the prediction I made is somewhat right. Maybe I'm off by a few months, but that's okay with me. I'm just happy that it was as close as it is. But this isn't the beginning, right? Or I mean, excuse me, this is the beginning. This isn't the end. It's going to go much further than this. But before we jump into the rest of the video, I just want to talk about some more people who have been saying this. This is Bojan. He says, "You're laughing. Software engineering is solved, and you were laughing." So if you're not familiar with this guy, he used to work at NVIDIA. He worked in machine learning. He is a data scientist, physicist, whatever, all these other things. And yeah, he's not like anybody to shake a stick at. It's not just some random person saying this. This is also another person. This was he actually worked with Elon Musk at X. He used to actually run he was like the lead product engineer or something like that of the X platform. And he said, "I'm going to say something that most of you won't understand. But now, with the crop of LLMs, coding is almost solved, and it's all systems engineering. And here is something I learned from being a distributed systems wagee for a long time. Make your systems parametric." So this is also somebody who says coding is basically solved. There's no really, if you're really using the tools, if you're using Claude 4.5 Opus in Claude Code with the Max plan, you kind of see it. It's an obvious thing. It's like apparent to you that this is true. And yeah, I mean, like, I think we're already at the paradigm where we don't really have to check the generated code, depending on what you're doing. For instance, what I do if I don't want to check the generated code, if I'm feeling extra lazy, basically you can have Claude Code go encode the actual thing, build it first, and then you can have like GPT 5.1 Codex Max set on the highest mode, go back behind Claude Code and double check the work that it did, and at that point it'll just point out any error, like security issues or anything like that, because both of the models in parallel are quite good. GPT-5 Codex Max is kind of like the scalpel. Claude Code is kind of like the lead engineer, if you will. Now, I know what some people are going to think. Some people are going to say, "Oh my God, software engineering is dead," which I guess you could make the argument that it is dying, because if you look at all of the projects that software engineers are building today are either like large monopolistic companies trying to enslave all of the attention of humans, or it's basically a vibe coded app that doesn't really do that much, right? It's not something that's like overly valuable. I can go to ChatGPT and perform the exact function that app is doing without needing that app in the first place. And that's a lot of the software industry today, is those two categories. But I do think we're going to see, as these tools get better and better, is a new wave of innovation emerging with software. Now, some people will say software engineering is no longer valuable. I think this is false. I think what we are really seeing here is this paradigm right here, where everybody is effectively a software engineer. Now, let me expand this a little bit. I think this is the current paradigm of artificial intelligence, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to become more and more and more powerful. And the domains of engineering and stuff like that are going to be solved much, way sooner than like the true AGI, right? Like before we get the machine that we hand civilization over to, which I do think we'll get there. I do think we'll get to this version eventually. For now, I think we're in this paradigm where we're going to start to solve all of the specialized engineering types of tasks. And I think we'll get to this paradigm whenever we have embodied humanoid robots with active inference and continual learning algorithms, which we might actually need a few breakthroughs to get there. But basically, the way you can think of AI or any type of intelligence for that matter is it's a space of problems where information is optimizing for an objective function within that space of problems, and then the space of problems is putting evolutionary pressures onto the information whenever trying to reach that function, and that causes the shape of the intelligence to emerge the way it does, which is why the current paradigm of AI, where it's just like this compute and intelligence and data in a data center within the space of a coding environment, the shape of the intelligence is very much like this. Whenever you're using the coding agents, it's very much like this. There is more roundedness, I would say. It's a little bit more round, something like this, perhaps. But to get to the point where we are completely saturating the circle of human capabilities, I think we're going to need, again, the problem space of the universe with humanoid robotics and active inference and continual learning within humanoid robots, and then I think we start to see this effect. But for now, I think we're going to be in this similar-ish paradigm until we get to that actual state of AI. So here's the thing about software. I think it's always going to be valuable because if you really think about it, AGI is software. Humans are software and hardware. Like, software is just labor. That's all it is. And like I mentioned earlier in previous videos too, is software, the way it started was basically a cloud filing cabinet. It was just a way to have a bunch of information stored efficiently and effectively. And it was hard to it was just a really good filing cabinet, right? You could store it on these like microscopic things, terabytes of data. It's amazing. And now, or it was a filing cabinet, and then it became communications, and then it became simple deterministic automations, and that was the form of labor that it was covering. Now software is coming for all of services, and what software is starting with is software is eating itself. Software is eating the ability to create software. Software is eating itself. It's eating the labor that humans did to write software. So the thing everybody needs to realize is there are literally only 5 fundamental pillars of civilization, and that is intelligence, labor, materials, energy, and community. If you think about it, humans are nothing but intelligent laborers recombining energy and materials to create technology and civilization itself, and we do this in the form of like an organization of communities, cooperation, governance, and those sorts of things. And you can break these down into AI, which is software, right? Software. And then you can break it down into also like AI as well, AI and robotics, which is digital work and physical work, right? For labor, digital labor, physical labor. So we have AI/software, AI plus robotics or /robotics. And then we have materials, which is just Earth, Moon, Mars, planets, asteroids, like anything that has matter, right? Materials is matter. Then we have energy, which is electrons, right? And now we have these intelligent robots that can harvest matter from the Earth. And then we also have energy technology that can harvest electrons from the universe, such as solar panels or nuclear reactors. Now, the last thing is community, or the organization of humans, right? And you can break community into like uh, organization, governance, um, cooperation, which is kind of like organization. And then you can also break it down into the things that people like to do, which would be health, wealth, um, relationships, entertainment, right? So all of these are places to build with software. Literally all of these are still very valuable places to build with software, and they will be for as long as civilization exists, in my opinion. Uh, Perhaps we get to a point where we do get the super duper intelligence that is doing all things on behalf of humanity, and humanity just kind of like sits back on the beach and drinks margaritas all day. I actually think we're going to like merge with the machine, and we're still going to be building things in the future. There's like different ways you could view this technology, and we don't really know the end state yet. We're not there, but I would personally argue that AI is going to enhance us at the pace that AI is developing. AI is going to become extremely intelligent, and so will we, by either merging with the machine or using genetic engineering or the combination of the two. And we'll basically have the extension of our cognition, which is the machines, and we'll be able to use our agency to continue to do these things. And I think that's kind of what is most likely to happen. I do think we will have like the intelligent humanoid robots that are like augmenting and basically automating large parts of society, large parts of civilization. We might hand over like majority of civilization over to these machines. But on the whole, we will kind of be the decision makers, the democracy of thoughts of augmented humans. Whenever we're all thinking and the AI is kind of like processing all of our thoughts, that'll be kind of like the decision making process, if you will, which is very big visioned and philosophical, and we don't have to go there. But nonetheless, these are all places that are still valuable to build. And these are all places where you can provide real value, more value than you're taking from society. Now, what I will say is a lot of people in software right now are just kind of like building little scammy apps. They're kind of just like not really providing very much value. They're just creating like, how can I maximize the amount of hedons for the consumer? Which, I mean, it's an approach, not the one I would personally do. I kind of want to have a business model where I am creating more than I am taking. And I think that is much better for long-term business. Your company will last a lot longer. And yeah, basically free markets select that model over the just taking all of the money from people and they're just getting a bunch of dopamine spikes. That business probably won't last very long. So this is the paradigm of building that I think we're in. And I think this is going to last for a very long time. Possibly forever, because this is just kind of reasoning upwards from the fundamentals of physics and human psychology. These are the things that are least likely to change. Out of the very fast changing world that we are in, the dynamics of technology and civilization that we are in, the singularity, if you will, these are the constants. Human psychology and the laws of physics. And that is why I suggest looking at these things and building adjacent to these. Because these things are not going to change. Like, these are the constants of reality. And if you build adjacent to these, or you build within these, you're going to be fine. And you can still build software to do that. Now, what I will say is because everybody is becoming super cracked because of the powerful technology of AI, everybody's what the hell is going on here? Everybody's super skilled engineer because of the super powerful technology of AI, the competition is going to be much higher. It's kind of like, think about it like this. The internet democratized the ability to start a business for super cheap. Like, whenever the internet came out, you had 15-year-olds creating marketing agencies. And that's basically what I did, right? Whenever the internet started to become a thing and marketing and Facebook ads became more popular, you had people like me at a very young age figuring out that I can go on the internet, basically talk to people on the internet for free, book a sales call with those people for free, and then collect $5,000 and then run Facebook ads for that person's company. And you can scale up to like 50 different customers all at the same time. And it was not that hard. Like, it wasn't easy by any extent, but that, like, you could genuinely have, like, I had around like 30 different customers at any given time. And I was pretty young for like running a company like that. And it was very easy. It democratized it to the extent that me living in my parents' house could do that, right? And I could build like wealth, basically a decent amount of wealth for the age that I was. Now AI is doing that to a further extent, where it's not that you're just hopping on the internet and creating this marketing agency. You can now hop on the AI and do actual engineering. And sure, the AI is not completely there. It's not like telling you exactly how to build things from physics, the first principles of physics. But what you can do is learn just a little bit about physics, because you don't really need to know that much. You just kind of need to know, like, what are the states of matter, what is thermodynamics. You don't need to really know the equations of thermodynamics or anything like that. You just kind of need to understand the concepts of like Newtonian mechanics, thermodynamics, basically understand these things that we already covered. And then think of an idea, which, if you don't have a good idea, I made a video previously talking about the immutable principles for the age of intelligence. That was like 2 videos ago. I recommend to check it out. It'll help you get some ideas. Watch that video. Think about ideas adjacent to these. And you can kind of just like visualize something, or at least this is how I work. I'm explaining my thought process here. I do that. I like write all this stuff on a whiteboard, and then I like visualize things that I could be working on, or visualize things that are possible within these spaces. And I look at the different technologies that are available today. There's also a chart. I want to pull up the chart for you. Voila. So this chart right here, let me open it up. Bigger screen. What the hell is this? I don't want to do all this shit. Get away from me. Oh my God, where'd it go? Oh my God, dude. Okay, Kathy, you need to fix your damn website. I'm pissed off. I'm gonna just copy this. Come over here, add a little paste action. That's very small. Let's make it a little bigger. Cool. So what I would do, back to what we were just talking about, is I would look at these things that we just discussed. Watch the video that I just mentioned, the immutable principles for the age of intelligence. Watch the entire video, because the sauce happens. It starts happening about halfway through the video, or just a little bit before halfway through the video. The first half is extremely good as well, but just watch the whole thing. Give me the views, please. And then watch that video, look at these, and then look at these technologies right here. Like 3D printing, reusable rockets. You're probably not going to be building reusable rockets, adaptive robotics, advanced batteries. Like, some of these you're probably not going to build, but some of these are tools that you could use to build with, right? So you can look at all of these different things. Like, crypto is going to be huge. I think people do not understand that crypto is going to literally eat all of fiat currency. The US dollar, euro, yen, everything. Everything is going to be eaten by crypto technology. That's legal stuff, governance structures, everything is going to be destroyed, disrupted, absolutely annihilated by crypto technology. This is going to be like huge. You think AI is going to be big? It is. This is going to be like what causes crypto technology is what causes the societal shifts of AI. So the AI is the catalyst for crypto technology. Crypto technology would have never been as big as it's going to be without AI. So this is going to be huge. This is a massive wave that's coming, along with AI, of course. So look at these technologies, look at this, and then watch that video and write down the things that you learned from those things. And then just think, literally look at it, conceptualize it, internalize it deeply, and think for a week, 2 weeks, and you'll start to come up with some interesting ideas and write them down. And after you do that for a little bit, you will just start to become this generative machine. I think that's really where we're going right now. Is AI is good at generating things, but it's not good at generating very super interesting novel ideas. At least not the current paradigm. Maybe we'll get there, but in the current stage, it's not good at doing that at all, actually. But humans have a really good innate ability to do that. Like Albert Einstein generating general relativity with the limited amount of information that he had at the time is insane. Um, and I think AI will be good at that for certain types of things. Like I think doing like certain scientific things, AI will be able to make extrapolations and connections that humans cannot make. But we have yet to see it for these types of things that I'm mentioning right here. Um, Maybe it'll get there. Maybe GPT-6 will be able to do that. Maybe GPT-7 will be able to do that. I'm not exactly sure. But being a human that is highly generative and it has the ability to look at a bunch of different things like the components we just mentioned and then generate ideas. Just think to yourself. Think from like the first principles upwards and play out the second and third order consequences and just think deeply on it and generate ideas from that. That is like an immensely valuable skill, especially in a world where actions are beginning to happen at the speed of thought. It's more important to spend time thinking like that than it is to be doing a bunch of arbitrary actions, because those actions that you're doing right now are going to get eaten by AI, but the generative ideas that you have that is enabled by AI will be the things that actually go out and make a lot of value. So those are just a few like golden nuggets there. Hopefully they're golden. So one of the things that is becoming pretty apparent is just building software as a service isn't good enough anymore. You can't just have discrete software unless you are like building a very, very robust data pipeline that people can use that data for certain things, and then it can be pretty discrete because you basically have like a very interesting service for the times that we're in. But just normal software as a service that you see majority of the time, it's not good enough anymore. You need to build an ecosystem of products that corners the market you're trying to compete in, which is why my personal model is something more along the lines of this, where I'm posting videos on YouTube like this. I'm trying to get in front of people who want to build the future with technology. I want to get in front of people who really want to ride the wave of AI. I want to get in front of people who really want to understand these things from the fundamentals. And I want to help educate these people. And I want to build a community of these people. Because if we have a bunch of these people, all in a community, and we all are kind of on the same page, we're all very capable at using the technology, and we all understand the fundamentals of how these things work, and we understand what is physically possible in the universe. We are all high agency collectively. We have all of these different things. That's a very powerful thing to have, which is why my model here is kind of like posting content on YouTube and kind of like funneling all of that to a community platform. I think the community is going to be probably one of the biggest business models in the future, especially if you look at the things that we were just talking about previously. Community is one of the biggest pillars of civilization today. Like we have intelligence, labor, energy, and materials, but community is the organization of all of these things. That's the thing. Like community is kind of the base layer. And then from there, it's energy. And then from there, it's materials. And then it's labor. And then intelligence is at the top. And you can kind of build this like hierarchy of things you should be focusing on. And at the base layer, community is kind of the fundamental pillar of everything that you could possibly do in the universe. All of the things that you could possibly create. If you have more people, a bigger organization, a bunch of people who are kind of all on the same page trying to reach similar goals, you guys are fucking powerful together. It's insane. And if you have that, you start to build some energy and you are getting access to materials. Your labor and intelligence as a community with powerful AI and potentially robotics in a not too distant future is going to be absolutely absurd. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say you have to build a community just like mine. I think you can build a community along anything. You can have a community that is literally within just relationships. Like people do this successfully. A lot of people have a community where they're helping people in their relationships. Like maybe you have like an interest in psychology and human relationships, and then you can have a community where people can come to relate with their fellow humans and learn how to adjust in the relationships that they have with the super fast changing world of artificial intelligence. I think that's a very valuable community to build personally. Same thing with health. It's a lot easier to conquer your health goals whenever you have a bunch of community or people in your community also focused on health goals. Same thing with wealth. All of these things are the same. And the interesting thing about this model is you can start to corner the market on a platform like YouTube, build a community. And now the cool thing about the community is this is a platform of customers that you are developing. And then you can develop products for all of the problems that the community members have. You can literally make this community free, completely free, and be insanely profitable because your AI products are the thing that's actually interfacing as the service with the community. The community is a service itself. The community is very valuable. It's you can build a really fantastic culture that gets people to stick and gets people to continue to use your services. But your actual services that you're providing isn't going to be human services anymore. The human services that you can provide are the community services. The community is the new form of human labor, the new form of human services. The AI agentic products, the products that are actually fulfilling labor, those are the new forms of services. I think this is the new service model. Excuse me. I think this is the new service model of the future, is a community augmented by AI, where AI is doing the labor, AI is handling the intelligence, and those sorts of things. And then the community is kind of there for like the stickiness, the ability for people to like help each other and learn with each other, the cooperation, all of these different things. Like if you come back here, community is actually the most important layer here. And then all of these other things are downstream of community. So this is the model that I'm personally building. I think it's going to be very, 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 very powerful in the future. I think this is kind of what everybody who is building software is going to have to pivot towards. You can't just build software. You can't just build a community. You have to do both. You can't just post content. You can't just do any of these things by themselves anymore. The competition is too high. You have to do the full stack. Otherwise, you get competed away. And it's actually easy to do the full stack now. You have super powerful tools that are augmenting you to the extent that these things are actually easy now. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. Hopefully there are some golden nuggets in here, some insights for you in the future. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you are interested in actually joining my community, you can do just that in the link in the description below. It's pretty awesome in here. We have about 401 people who are all building with the technology of AI, learning about how to apply these things the best way possible. And we all have the goal of maximizing our positions in the future and providing more value than we're taking from society in the process. That being said, I'm going to wrap up the video here. I will see you in the next one.